So today we are going over 5 simple things to look for when tracking whether it's a predator, such as a wolf or some sort of animal, or even human beings, okay? And now, since there's an abundance of wildlife here, yet we've been in the area for about 24 hours now, we're most likely not going to see said wildlife because we've disturbed their kind of rhythm. Um, and we've been somewhat noisy lately. So we won't see any. We can try and find some tracks, but it's going to be a little more difficult. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of the video. All right, so first things first, what we're looking for is any sort of clue and or sign. So what a clue is hey, this object has been either dropped, disregarded, or anything that you can think of that's synonymous for those words, and it's done by a human. So if I, have, well, actually, my water bottle is perfect. If I have a water bottle that is laying there, that would be what's called a clue. All right, wide out in the open, you see it, you're like, humans here. Okay, because an animal's not going to leave that. An animal's not going to carry that either. So therefore, it'd be like, hey, we're tracking a human. Now, what's the purpose? Search and rescue, most likely. But we're looking for clues and signs. Now, the other thing from, the other thing we're looking for that is not a clue is a sign. So, what a sign is I'm looking for any sort of tread. I am looking for any sort of, unnatural lines in the dirt, the soil, the grass. Now, grass is going to be a little bit hard to see. You'll see the imprint, but you will not see the actual print itself. You'll see like the depth and the depression in it. And we'll go over that here shortly. But for this purpose, we have a track right here. Now, yes, it was made by myself and Connor, my cameraman, but right here, you can see a bunch of unnatural lines. Now, those unnatural lines tell a story, okay? So the way this one is going, and not just because I made it, but because I can actually show you exactly what I mean. There are certain markings on the tread of a boot. Now, on those markings, you're going to see almost arrows because some shoes are naturally aggressive. So if you take a look at my tread right now, these are extremely aggressive tread. Okay, so these are the Salomon Speed Assault 2s, and they, like I said, they have extremely aggressive tread. So they have arrows and like super deep tread, probably like a quarter to half inch of tread just on the bottom there. Okay, and they all have different markings from the outside to the inside. So if you can get that good of a look at what you're looking for in the actual track, you're going to be definitely set and be able to tell what's happening. So let's analyze this, right? So I'm here, and if you can move this slightly right there, let's get a little bit of light into this. So the sun is actually coming out perfectly. You can see those shadows, okay? And you can kind of see that there's a V right there. So that would be indicative of this guy right here, okay? This one right here. There's a V right there. And then you have another one pointing right there. And you have, they're all multiple. So I can tell this is the edge of the foot right there, okay? Now, if you follow this around, you're going to find the same exact thing, obviously on the other side, because, shoes are generally synonymous. They're the same underneath. Now, you have those V's, like I said, another V right there, but then you have a spacer. So I would say this is the center of the foot right there. You come back slightly, and you have more V's right here. So there's your heel. So your ending portion of this track is right here on the heel. Okay, so from here to here, you can actually calculate what the estimated size of a human is here, and it is the... Guys, I had to cut the audio mainly because I didn't want to give you the wrong information. I was close, but I was not exactly on, and I actually found a better equation for you guys to follow in order to effectively estimate the height of an individual, and you'll see it posted for a couple more seconds here. So pay attention to that. There we go. I swear I can talk. But this is what we're looking for, guys, okay? So this is a very distinct track, and it's telling me that since these arrows in his shoe are pointing this way, that he is headed that way, okay? So keep that in mind when looking for track and what's called sign in any sort of environment. Now, this is not the only one we're going to go over. So clue right there, the water bottle, and then sign and or track, okay? So keep those two things in mind, and that is our first point right there. Here's another quick little snippet of what we're looking for. We can kind of tell the posture of someone and how they are based off of really what you're seeing with the depth of the tread of the track and like what it's doing. So the way I'm going to break this down is that this is what we were analyzing before, okay? This is that track I just showed you guys. Now you take a look here, and this is where my heel was, okay? This is where my left foot was. You can tell that there's a lot deeper indentation right there. So that was where my heel was, as well as you can see that I was pretty heavy on the actual portion of the heel right here, because you can see so many clear lines and clear symmetrical objects. So like these V's right there. And that's what you're looking for, guys. So if I were a betting man and I'm not seeing the front portion of this foot, then I'm like, okay, he knelt down right here. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for, is a quick like change in posture. You can read all of this, just a lot of practice, guys. So keep that in mind. Looking at old versus new, guys. That's a loud crow. Looking at old versus new. So these were from yesterday, okay? You can see that the moisture hasn't completely came off. Now, I know what you guys think about this. This is called a clue. We're gonna throw that away later. But right here, this is your old track, okay? You can see the outlines, same prints as last time. It's the same actual tread in the boot, but I can see the V indicating that it was actually pointing this way partially. Maybe that this was the outskirt and coming in, there's a heel there, maybe, or it might have been my dog. But we also have another straight line right there. Okay, so there's a lot to analyze here, but right here, this is the old print, okay, this guy right here. Now, move over slightly. This guy is a new print. Now you see the V's pointing that way, showing that we're going that way. All of these showing old versus new. This is aging of sign, and this is new sign within 10 minutes. Okay, so keep that in mind, guys. Aged approximately a day, because there's still moisture. If there was no moisture, I would think that it's definitely older than 1 to 3 days. But since there's moisture, then you know there's not as much time gone by as there could have been. Now there's full moisture and a lot of easy imprints. Boom, done. That's easy. That's been within the last 10 minutes. Moving on to our next point, finding the initial entry location of whatever you're chasing. Okay, human, animal. You're looking for the initial entry point. Obviously, you're gonna have tracks going somewhere. Well, if you go over a road, you need to find that entry point again. And finding that entry point again is doing something where you're looking and you're finding the most utilized or easiest utilized path of travel. So humans are naturally lazy. Now, I am probably going to upset some of you with that, but humans are naturally lazy. They want to take the path of least resistance. So if I were looking at this and I observed all the sign, and we had done some tracking yesterday, so this was the initial entry point, but obviously you can see that something has been disturbed here. Now, I'm not going to be like Dora the Explorer and be like, what has been disturbed here? Can you point it out? I'm not going to do that, but I just did it, so get over it. All right, let's get into it. So I'm here, and I'm the lead tracker. I'm like, all right, guys. So I know that we just came off the road. We found all the sign indicative that we've gone completely off the road. We're not following it anymore because we need to go do something, or we need to go hunt something, or this animal has gone off the road and now blazed their own trail. So what I'm seeing here, there's a lot of stuff to look for. But the beauty of this is you can see a clear-cut trail of whether it's dead branches, whether it's leaves, whether it's shrubbery, whatever you want to call it, weeds. All of this leads to one singular entry point. Okay, so you're looking for that path of least resistance, and that might be obvious, guys, but as you can see, there's 2 different paths, 3 different paths, 4 different paths. So I'm analyzing which one would make the most sense and give me the least resistance on punching through this brush. So if I were a betting man, and now understand we're gaming the game, but if I were a betting man and I were to take a look at this, we come off the path, I identify like right here, there's some old foliage disturbance, and I'm like, all right, cool. Well, they stopped here, did whatever they needed to do, and then they turned inboard towards the woods. Where am I going? I can see a slight path there, I can see a heavily utilized one there, and I can see a heavily utilized one there, but they're all narrowing to one point, which is right there. That one is not, that one is narrowing to the left there, but I'm not really worried with that one because I don't see as deep of depression in the weeds, causing it to kind of funnel or bowl. I don't see that as much right there. So I am gonna bet, it's not really betting, but I'm gonna bet that he took this route and or this route, but since they diverge at the same point and they meet, then that is our spot. So keep that in mind, guys. Finding the path of least resistance, that's gonna be one of your best friends here. And let's move on to the next point. All right, these are perfect ones. So understanding that these are already kind of like clumped together and everything like that, we want to show you what a hang up actually looks like and what you really need to look out for. So at the base here, you're not going to really get too good of a view, but at the base here, right here, this guy is now hung up. Okay, he started out forward, he got stepped on, and now he is behind. He is also pointing in the direction pretty much that you're traveling. So keep that in mind, guys, is that these ferns, or if you see a path blazing through somewhere, your foliage, if they step on it correctly, which most of the time they step on it the way they're gonna go because they don't want it to hit them, so they step over it and on top of it, like, actually here, give me fern. All right, so let's say this is the fern that I'm gonna step on, right? I'm here, I step on it, and it goes its different angle, but at the same time, it's gonna stay down either or pop up, and you look at the base, and it's pointing, because it's angled, because I stepped on it, coming forward, that it's gonna point exactly where it's gonna go. So this one, I stepped near there, and now it's actually pointing in the correct direction. Okay, so keep that in mind, guys, is when you step on even small little weeds, ferns, at the base of ferns, whatever, that is going to show you where they're traveling. Okay, all of them are going to hang up just like this. So if you watch my arm come through, okay, you create that. Now hold on, it's fucking, I just actually reset the hang up, so that's cool, whatever. Okay, so we have a natural path right here. This is how it was previously. Now coming through right here, you see how they're crossed just like that? That is going to be your hang up, and that's what you got to pay attention to. Now this one was a little bit farther down and it was caught on this guy. Okay, but that's the general concept, guys, is once they're freed and they return back to normal, they look just like this. They look at their natural position, but someone blazes a path right through here. Oh, come on. Blazes a path right through here, drags it along. That's your hang up. So hope this is easily understandable. It's hanging up on this guy and catching right there. So I hope this is understandable, guys. So right here, this would tell me that, as you can see, this is undisturbed right here, but this part's been disturbed. Okay, so something stepped here and peeled it downward. Okay, that's the only reason why this would have a bare portion right here and this peeled off of it. Okay, is something stepped on it and it kind of like came through. So I would say this was a heel that came down and stepped right over it and dragged a little bit, which to most people that's going to seem like nothing. But if you're experienced in what you're doing, this is a very, very easy thing to pick up. And especially being in conjunction with all the signs here. Okay. Now this alone right here is what my knee does after about 10 minutes of kneeling. It will start returning back to normal within 5 to 10 minutes, but it won't fully proceed. So keep that in mind, guys. And let's move on to point 4. This is a very common one that I'm sure most of you would probably know. It is not at all a difficult thing to know. It is actually fairly difficult to spot. So right here, I'm gonna give you guys 5 seconds to identify in this general vicinity right here what I'm looking for. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so what I'm looking for is this little guy right here, okay? Animals are, again, soft on nature, okay? They don't always break things off. Yeah, things can get caught in their fur, but animals out here, they usually have the same paths they take pretty often, so they blaze them pretty regularly and they don't have to worry about getting caught up on stuff. Something abrupt, a human, came through here, and if they were in kit, they definitely got caught on something and they broke this little guy off right here. Okay, so twigs, branches, trees, they're going to be your best friend when actually looking to get into this stuff. As well as like a follow-on after that. If you take a look right here, so there's 2 things in this shot that I wanted you guys to see. That old one and this new one, or not new one, but like this one right here that I haven't pointed out yet. These are going to be the ones that you don't really see unless you have a trained eye for it. Now, coming through here, this was probably a, this was definitely disturbed coming down. The leaves are underturned. The leaves are dead. Okay, that's I would say that's probably 0.5 as well, but the leaves are dead and they're showing the underside, meaning that someone came through here and killed it. Okay, they killed portions of this leaf. They're no longer receiving nutrients, therefore they shrivel up and die. So they came through here, they broke off some branches, okay, and then these guys are shriveled up and dead. So that being said, you need to take a look at all these different little things and just take in the big picture. I'm also looking for imprints of, where, boots might have landed, which I can see on top of, if you're tracking animals, this is a quick little one for you, a little freebie. If you're tracking animals, that's scat right there. Okay, so that's deer shit. Look at that, memorize that, and if you're tracking deer, that's what you want to see. But I can also see enough of a depression over all these leaves and fresh broken twigs to tell me that someone stepped right fucking here. Okay, so that's what we're looking for, guys. This is not an easy skill, and it's definitely something that takes a lot of practice. Okay, so if you aren't familiar with it, get out in your backyard, go walk through the grass, see when the sun hits your footprints at a certain angle, whether it's going down or coming up, which way is dark and which way is light. Now I know which way is dark and which way is light, but again, this is only like 5, maybe 6 points that I wanted to hit on quick tracking tips. But going through grass, once you identify that stuff, write it down. And if you're interested in finding more of this stuff, guys, come and subscribe to my Patreon, or our Patreon, and we will have the remainder of all these quick little tips. Okay, we want to teach you all this stuff, but knowledge has never been free, and that's the unfortunate part. Now, YouTube is a great thing. We will get you the baseline, but it's always your job to expand your knowledge however you see fit. So guys, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and crucify. And if you have other tips, put them in the comments. We would love to see your comments on here. And if you have questions, ask away. We are full of knowledge and we love sharing that knowledge. So guys, with that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Make sure you check out WAR.inc. All right, they made this shirt for me. I wear it a ton, and you're gonna start seeing it a lot more in the videos because I love it. And that is it, guys. Have a fantastic day. Be safe and stay lethal.